Welcome to Educators with Oil. I'm your host, Ronette Branham, and I have a special guest host, my cousin Regina Lewis, who is a personal finance manager. And I'll let her tell you a little bit about herself.
Excellent. Hey, Cuz.
Hi,
Good to
how are
see
you?
you. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you today. I'm so excited about your podcast, and everything that you're doing is excellent, excellent. So, hello, everyone. Yes, I'm Regina Lewis. I'm the CEO of Brightway Financial Planning and Lifestyle Guidance, LLC. And I'm also an adjunct professor at Hampton University, where I teach personal finance and business finance. So I'm real excited that Ronette invited me today to speak about personal finances to her very personal, specific audience. And we're excited about that.
Yeah,
all teachers, right, Ronette? Is all teachers?
Yes, mostly teachers. I have other viewers too who are enjoying the program as well, but it's aimed towards teachers. Yes.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, this platform, or my platform, is I like to introduce individuals to personal financial planning, provide some little tidbits to help them improve or to kind of expound or expand on their financial portfolio. And so I do seminars, I do workshops. And so I'm just excited about what God has instilled in me and has given me the opportunity to be able to provide the information that I've learned through the years to your audience and other audience of the like. So I've been actually in the financial arena for about 40 years now. So I'm about 40 years.
40?
I've been working in finance for 40 years. Yeah,
I thought I heard you wrong. Okay.
No. I've been working for the federal government in finance for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, and I've been teaching personal finance for about 13 years at Hampton University. And I also, I'm just like yourself, I have a master's degree in financial management. Well, it's in what's my master's in? Here you go. I have a master's in public administration with a concentration in financial management.
Okay.
So yeah, all my life I've been doing finance. So I'm real excited about that opportunity. So thank you for having me this evening.
Thank you for coming. I sat in on a couple of your seminars. I sat in one in the entirety, and then the other one last week. I just got the end of it. But just talking to you about this episode right here, I remember things that you taught before and then that I forgot about. So just even talking to you for a few minutes helped me just to get my perspective right about saving, even just a little bit.
Right.
Each time I get paid. So some things I forgot, and then I remember, why didn't I keep doing that? So I'm excited about what you're going to talk about today.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Yeah, you mentioned my workshop. I did a workshop this past Saturday, and which I'm going to do this evening as well. I actually started a budget or created a budget from A to Z, and I talked to my audience about it, and it was very well received. I received some great compliments, excellent questions, and people were motivated. And I was so excited because that's what I like to do, motivate people to generate them and use that verb action to do something. So that was excellent. I'm glad about that. So I'm thinking I'll probably do more of those, because when you say budget, people get, they back up a little bit. That's the word they don't want to talk about, because they don't really want to talk about finances.
Yeah.
But it is something that we should and can address. And I found I'm a budgeteer. I budget my personal. I do it every year, and I have been religiously doing it, and it has helped me tremendously. So I'm excited about being able to help people. So that's what I plan to do when I retire, is continue to do seminars and just help one-on-one consultations and help people get, their personal finances in order, because, God wants us to be a good steward over our finances. He doesn't want us to be struggling. That's not what he wants from his people.
Right. Yeah. So I think I'm already motivated, because I keep a budget, but I'm thinking I used to keep it like a strict budget, but I kind of fell off a little bit. So this has been just inspiration right here to me to go back to the drawing board and sit down and write out a budget. just by you even speaking about it, it brings it to the forefront. Because we could act
Right.
like we don't remember, and then we have issues with our money. We can have some issues, but just because you're here right now, it's going to put it back to the forefront for me.
Right. And I found that people they think they have it up here. So that
Yeah.
but when you put it on paper and you can see, and because I think you should know where your money goes. And
Yeah.
that way, when you're educated and you're more knowledgeable about where your money goes, then you're more conscientious and become more disciplined, and you can achieve those personal financial goals. And I like to tell people, you don't have to be a millionaire to
No.
be able to create, put yourself in a great financial position. You don't have to be. Whatever
No.
money you make, whatever your salary is, then you'll know, and then you'll know the things that you need to do to improve, or maybe, and then you'll be like, hey, I'm doing pretty good. You find out eventually that you are doing pretty good for yourself. Yes.
Right. Especially you can keep track of it better.
You can
Because if
track.
you don't have a written out budget, then you're spending money, and then before you know it, it's gone. You're like, I didn't pay this, or I didn't pay this, or what happened to my money?
Exactly.
Money.
Exactly. And then I have what I'm going to share with your audience today is a monthly budget, because I know my daughter's a teacher, and in speaking with you, I know teachers, most teachers get paid on once a month in most cases, but I know when you and I were talking that you do get paid bi-monthly. So but sometimes when you're only getting paid once a month, it's a struggle, because once you get that money, pay your bills, and if you're not disciplined enough to allocate your resources, then you'll find yourself short until you're waiting for your next payday or paycheck. So I'm going to try to give some little tidbits today to kind of help bridge that gap and just help people do a little better with their finances. So I'm excited. I'm real excited.
I am too. I'm trying to find. It says share screen. How do I let you share your screen? Do you need it yet or no?
Well, yeah, you can actually go ahead and set it up. Okay, so when you go, okay, I did something myself. So when you hit, it says share by others or something, I believe. Do you see it when you hit
share screen? Oh, okay. Multiple. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, and then that would allow me to share my
when you get ready to.
Right, when I get ready.
Okay.
So you just let me know when you're ready, and we'll just jump right in.
I'm ready for you right now.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So one thing that I wanted to kind of talk about is I have, and you probably might not be able to see it, but I have a consumable workbook that is an introduction to financial planning and budgeting. And because your podcast is education with all. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Educators with all. Yeah. And so that's pretty timely, because in my workbook, if it's okay with you, I'd like to just highlight some of the items in here when it says, and it says in Proverbs 3:9, we must honor the Lord with all our wealth, and we do this because we believe and trust God. If we do this, so shall our homes be overflowing and filled with plenty. Scripture says God will supply all our needs. And I'm an advocate for that. I believe in that. And then it says, he has entrusted to us certain monetary blessings because of our faith. It does not matter how large or small. According to Proverbs 16:10 and 11, exercising faith and commitment allows God to bestow greatness upon us. And that's what I was saying. God wants us to be great, and he wants us to have the things that we should have. And finally, another what I like out of here, it says Proverbs 6:11 talks about the ant who works to store up food. We must put away and plan for financial difficulty, because there is a great chance it will occur. And if it does, then by utilizing the budget, it will assist us through those situations that we might have. So I just got some tidbits in this workbook, and I thought it was real appropriate for your podcast today.
What is it called? I can't see
it. It's a Brightway consumable workbook that I kind of developed. Oh, actually, it's a workbook that has a calendar in it, but I can share more. It's on my website, so I can share more with it. But I thought it was very appropriate as we go into, talking about the budget today, because again, God wants us to have plenty.
Right.
So if I can share now, let's see, because I'm not, okay, there you go. So I'm going to share, and you can let me know when the budget, if you can see the spreadsheet. Can you see
I
it?
can see it, yes.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So this is a monthly budget that I utilize, and I wanted to share with your audience when we're talking about our budget. So I'm going to talk real quick, and then about how it works and how you can utilize it for your monthly budget. So I know, as we talked about, most teachers, in my opinion, Renette, teachers are not paid enough. I'm just going to put it out there.
Right.
For the amount, for what you have to do.
For what we
I'm here
do.
for our children, which are our future. So you guys do a lot. So, my hat's off to you, a hand clap to you guys. But I wanted to, I hope this will be helpful to those who get paid on a monthly basis. So
Okay.
what I like to tell my audience is that when you start to do your budget, what you should do is you should write down, before you even begin the spreadsheet that I'm displaying on the screen, you should write down all of your income resources, whether you have getting paid as a teacher, or if you're doing anything on this, on the side to generate additional income. And also I want, before you put everything in the spreadsheet, I want you to write down all of your expenses. Everything that you spend your money on, I want you to jot that down, because we're going to utilize that to create your budget. So on this budget here, I'm just going to show some items. Okay, so in the monthly income section, and I did this for August, you see the monthly income is already pre-populated in the calculations and everything. They're on this spreadsheet. So it's really easy. I wanted to make it easy because a lot of people don't want anything that's going to be too difficult.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of apps out there that you can pay money for, but this is just a regular Excel spreadsheet.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, like I said, the calculations are already here, and I'll show you. So in this case, I got 3,000, so you can change that to 2,000.
Okay.
And you see it automatically adjusts the monthly income over here for you. So how easy is that? Real easy. So again, you would list all of your monthly income here, and it will automatically calculate it over there. Everything. I think you could put in it. And the good thing about this, Ronette, is that, like, say 1 month you might have a certain income, and the next month, like, say if you get a bonus at work, or even if you get your when we get our income tax return and things like that, you can adjust it each month. So this is a very active spreadsheet that you can utilize for your own benefit. And we'll talk about how often I think that you should go in and look at your budget. So we're back over in August. And so I've already there's a spreadsheet for September and October. Now, what I like to do is I'll go ahead and create my monthly budget from January to December. And why do I do that? Because mainly, if you've been at it for a while, you already know your income and you already know what expenses you're going to have. So you can go ahead and do it and just adjust it as you go. Okay.
And when you put income, is that the net? It's not gross, right?
This is your net. This is your net. Exactly. Okay. That's a good question. Yes.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, it's not going to work.
Right. It's going to be your net income. That's exactly right. So that's what you what you get in your paycheck and goes into your bank account. And so if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that I've listed monthly expenses, and I'm just going to run through them a little bit to discuss, because I want to just let you know the things that you should include, because your budget should be all inclusive. Okay. So you've got your rent or your mortgage, you're going to put that there. And if it changes again, expenses, if you go in and if we're going to put $1,000 here, see how it adjusts your expenses up there, and it adjusts your balance. So everything is already all inclusive. Now, electric, utilities, you would identify those and input those in the spreadsheet, whatever you have to pay monthly for your electricity. Gas, and this is gas. Like some people have, I know in my case, I have a Dominion Power, I have a electric bill and a gas bill. So you would include that in your budget. Your cell phone, your groceries for the month. Now, these are your monthly expenses, whatever your car payment is, and then you're going to do your auto expenses. Now, like I said, the budget is all inclusive. So whatever you might have for your expenses and you just allocate it. You just allocate that because that helps you to know what your expenses are, and it covers everything, so you won't find yourself in a shortage situation. Now, I call this bulletproofing your budget because that way, when you include everything in that, whatever comes your way, you've already accounted for it. Okay, does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. So you put miscellaneous on here or
yeah. Well, we're gonna go down. You're gonna see it's all inclusive. Okay, so you got your car payment, auto expenses, student loans. Thank you, Biden, for us that have student loans for giving us a little break and a little reprieve. And credit cards. You got your credit card payment there. Auto insurance. Personal. I think you should allocate a little bit of money for personal care because that way you've already taken care of anything that might come up. Entertainment, if you want to go to the movies or treat yourself, I think you should allocate funds for that. And like you were asking, see your miscellaneous, that's just what you allow, just in case something comes up. And we talked about how God provides for us. I even say you should put your tithes down as an expense. Because that way you know that it's allocated, it's taken care of, and then that's also helping you to be good stewards over what God has blessed you with, which means right. So I put that in there as my expense. And some people have a water bill, so you can do that. And I just wanted to show you. If you want to add something here, you can add it. If you want to take something away, so if you want to delete water, you do that. And if you delete the expense for that, remember, see how it changes? You're up there. Everything, all of the calculations are contained in the spreadsheet. So I think it's a very useful tool, helpful tool, and it just helps you to cover everything and kind of simplify the budgeting process for you. Renette, do you have any questions before I continue?
This spreadsheet is part of your book?
This spreadsheet is not part of my book. It's in addition to the book, but that's a good question. In the book, I do have on the calendar, I have a little place marked where you can track all of your expenses and your income, and you can do it manually. But no, this spreadsheet I have, and this, I can make it available to whoever would like to utilize it at no cost. I don't charge for this. I don't charge people for utilizing the spreadsheet. Now, if you want me to consult with you and look at your finances and make some recommendations to you, that we might, might be a small fee involved. But trust me, I don't break the bank. I'm here to help. I'm here to help, not to take all your money. Now we're going to scroll back up, and I'm going to show you. So here, this spreadsheet tells you, because it's enlightening, right? It tells you this percentage of your income that you spent. That means how much of your income are you spending on your expenses? And in this case, it's 57%.
All right.
What I like also about this spreadsheet, okay, so what I tell people when I talk about budget, I'm trying not to get too excited. I get so excited about these finance things. So
I get it.
So when you have your balance here, and this balance is I call it disposable income. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to write that here, disposable income. And so people say, well, what's disposable income? Because people don't like those financial terms. Disposable income is nothing but your expenses subtracted from your income, and that's the available money you have after you pay all your bills. That's all disposable income is. Okay. So and even on this spreadsheet, okay, so we talked about teachers getting paid monthly, or anyone can utilize this if when they get paid. So how is this going to help individuals that get paid monthly? Okay, so what I suggest you do, because listen, if you remember, we over here, we've taken care of everything. We have everything you thought of is been allocated. So this is truly money, excess money you have available out of your paycheck. So I don't, sometimes when you get paid once a month and you pay everything, then if you're not disciplined enough, you'll buy things before you know it, that $2,000. This is just for an example or to just pick that, but you would put your actual, you would make your spreadsheet personal for you.
Right.
So I like to say, you can go here to this and listen, if you don't know Excel, call me, reach out to me, and I'll help you through. I can't now, or Google.
Okay.
Google can become your best friend because Google, you can learn. Yeah, it teaches you everything. But I'm gonna show you one quick thing that I like to talk to my clients or customers about. So you do an add sum here, and that's G12, and you do the backslash, that's a divide, and you divide that by 4. And if you divide that by 4, then that means that 4 weeks, if you're disciplined enough, you should only allow yourself $533 a week.
Yeah.
Right. So discipline, that's all you have for a week, and then that stretches it out for the month for you. But we've already allocated all of your expenses over here. So we're not going to take and spend $500 a month.
A week, no.
A week, exactly. Thank you. What we're going to do is what I tell my clients is utilize these funds to create your savings account and your emergency fund. Now, when we're looking at your emergency fund, I know you guys have probably heard, and I'm saying guys, but each of you may have heard about emergency fund is 3 to 6 months that you should save. Now, that's 3 to 6 months of your expenses. And why?
Oh.
Because if something catastrophic happens, you have sufficient funds to either last you 3 months or 6 months. Now, what I'd like to tell people, when you're just starting, if you don't have an emergency fund, then your goal should be 3 months of your monthly expenses. So if we look at, this is $2,866 are your expenses, and you multiply that times 3. So your goal is to save $8,598 in your emergency expenses. Now, don't say, whoa, Regina, that's a lot of money. It is, but when you do it in increments, and when you get there, you'll have such a sigh of relief.
Right.
Or more comfortable because you have that money saved. And it is an achievable goal. Trust me, I know, because what I'm sharing with your guest or your audience, Renette, is something that I've done myself.
Okay.
So when you have your emergency fund, and also I think you should have a savings account. So we'll take this $500 because you don't need to spend $500. I suggest you take about, maybe split it in half, $250 to your savings and $250 to your emergency fund. Now, it's not like you still don't have that money, you do, but we're putting it in a savings account. And I tell people, for your savings account, you should probably have about $1,000 in your savings account. And that's because if you have a flat tire, your washing machine goes out or something, you already have money set aside. Now, listen, remember, I keep referring back to over here what we've already done. We've already made allowances for everything that you need to pay. So this is just really, truly extra money that you have. So you put $250 in your savings and $250 in your emergency. And when you get to the $1,000 in your savings account, then you're going to put more money in your emergency fund so you can get to your 3 months of saving. How do you like that, Renette? What do you think about that?
You're talking on my alley. I'm ready. I had done that, and then I keep, like I said, you start forgetting, and then you start making a little bit more money, start spending a little bit more money. So then you're like, oh, but I'm back on track now, just watching this, looking at this.
Right. And so, no, you don't want to spend your extra money. You want to put it in the savings because we want to build that nest egg. And so then I wanted to go back over here to talk a little bit about the expenses real quick. So, and one thing before I get too far down the road, I like to take, Renette, are you familiar with bill pay, or do you utilize the bill pay in your checking account?
No, only for some things, not for a lot, not for everything.
Right. But some of those reoccurring bills that you're going to pay, I like to use the bill pay, because when you put it in the bill pay and set it up, now bill pay is not all always automatic. Some things you can set up automatic because some people don't like to have someone just take their money without them having control over it. And I'm one of those people as well.
Yeah.
What I do is I do bill pay, and I do want to give a shout out to credit unions. I think I'm an advocate for utilizing the credit unions versus a regular commercial bank because of the fees. I'm not an advocate for us having to utilize. I mean, I don't like to give away money. How about that? I don't like to give away money. But then you can set some of these things like your car payment, your cell phone bill, your utilities and all that. Set it up on bill pay. So when you set it up on bill pay, I should say. So when you get paid, all you have to do is go to the bank and say, pay check, say check, check, check. And those things are automatically paid. And what does that do? Right. And what does that do for your credit? It makes you disciplined enough that you're paying your bills on time. Because one of the things when you talk about credit score, and I know that's a whole nother session that maybe you'll have me back to talk about how do I improve.
Absolutely. Yes,
but
I know I do. I've been working on that. Yes.
Oh, cool. So yeah, we can talk about that, and I can probably give some tidbits on things you can do to help do that. But this is one thing: when you set your bills up on bill pay and everything's paid on time, that affects your credit score. Now, one thing I am going to throw out: if you're with Experian and you put your utilities, cell phones, and those things on Experian and list those accounts, and you have them on bill pay and you're paying them on time, girl, you will see an increase. No joke, I do it. I'm telling you things I do. 40 to 60 point increase in your credit score. Did you know that, Renette?
No.
Yeah, and through Experian, and I forget what they call it. They have a term for it. But if you go in and they'll let you go in and add those to your credit report, and then you're going to put them put these on not auto, but put them on bill pay, paid on time. It helps your credit score. It helps your credit score go up. And we'll talk more about that. But now when you're doing your credit cards, and so things like student loans depend on how much you owe, but credit card, car payments, and things of that nature, when you pay those off, because you're on this budget, and you'll see you can even take, I suggest, if you want to pay after you get to your $1,000 in savings and you get your emergency fund, you can take part of this disposable income here and put it on those credit cards and get those credit cards paid off faster as well too. Pay additional money on those. And that helps. But we can talk about all of that. I know I'm throwing a lot of information out at your audience today, but I'm hoping that what I'm telling individuals about this budget is very, very helpful to them. So I like to delete that off and delete that. Any additional questions with that about the budget?
No, what I'm thinking is this is helpful because if people don't utilize a budget, or just that you don't utilize a budget and you just pay off your bills, like this is what I used to do. I used to get paid and pay all my bills, then I didn't have money left because I didn't budget. So I got paid twice a month, but as soon as I got paid the first time, I'm paying everything and I don't have money for the next time. But if I use a budget, I'll know, like I do now, I pay some things at the beginning of the month, some things in the middle of the month. So it works. But
it works. It helps you to be more disciplined and know where your money goes. And it's also what I like to call accountability. So you're held accountable for what you're doing, your spending habits, your saving habits, and everything. And I'm telling you, millionaires budget, successful people budget. And now after this session, we're going to say teachers budget. How about that?
Right.
And so one other thing before we get away from the budget, I also have a weekly budget spreadsheet. So if you get paid weekly or bi-monthly, you can utilize this spreadsheet, and all you have to do is put in what you make for your income here, your expenses, and also this is nothing but an Excel spreadsheet. And I've already set it up from January to December. So all of the months are here, and all you have to do is drop the amounts in here, like if you're rent is like I was showing on the other screen, $1,100, it
Yeah.
automatically does the calculations for you. So I
Okay.
have everything set up,
Sure
whether
do.
you're getting paid weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. But again, if you're not an Excel guru, no worries. You got Google out there, and then you got me that you can call me or ask me any questions that you might need to know about budgeting and doing a budget spreadsheet.
Oh,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. I think that just about covers everything for a budgeting in real quick session. That's what it was. I'm
Right.
gonna stop sharing, okay?
And
So I hope that was helpful.
It was. And so I'm going to add your contact information, if that's okay, your
Oh, absolutely.
contact
Yeah.
to the end of this video.
Okay.
And anybody who's interested, they'll have it's going to be like my credit screen. So your
Okay.
information will be there, and your my contact information will be at the end. And I appreciate that. I know we had to get it to under a certain amount of time, and that was perfect.
Yeah, I did. I tried to get it out there, but it's budgeting is not complicated.
No,
so and I don't want people to shy away from it and be scared about it or anything like that. And there's additional information that we can work on. Excuse me, I probably edit that out. But there's additional information that we can work on to help people get in a better financial position. And to me, the first place you start is creating and doing your budget.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tess.
Okay, thank you for viewing Educated with Oil with Ronette Branham and my guest, Regina Lewis. I don't know why I keep saying Regina Lewis.
Oh, you're fine.
And please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you. Take care. Bye. Welcome to Educators with Oil. I am your host, Ronette Branham, and I am here to offer biblical strategies for effective teaching. And I have a special guest today, Dr. Ketsia Sadler. Ketsia Alerte Sadler. How are you today, Ketsia?
I am good. How are you? I'm so excited to be on the show with you today. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm excited too. So if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, then we can get into the topic of today.
So I am a registered nurse with 28 years of experience. This is my 22nd year, though, as a school nurse in a public school system in Bergen County, New Jersey. I'm married with 2 sons. They're 31 and 27. And I have 2 passions, which are students living healthy lifestyles. So my mission is to ensure that they start learning different things as kids to take into adulthood. And then my other passion is college preparedness. And so College Cafe is the company I've had unofficially for about 12 years, officially about 3 years, where we help families finance the whole process to get into college. So I talk to my target audience would be 7th and 8th graders, talking to you about what your intended plans are for the future and see which high schools may align with that. And parents as well, because parents ultimately have to pay that money.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that both parties are understanding what the goals are for the child, where are the child's strengths, so you can get the financial scholarships and the merit scholarships as well. So
that sounds cool. Yeah, I'm my granddaughter's in 6th grade, so I'm gonna call you next year, and she's like honor roll type. She does her work, and she's like really bright. So I'm trying to get them preparing. So we're gonna call you next year.
So the one thing I want to say though is that, a lot of times our kids will say, oh, my child's bright and my child's going to get in. But what we're finding is that even sometimes the brightest kids don't get into the schools that they're expecting. So that's why every child needs to be almost so diversified in a way and so unique that the school is going to want you. You can't kind of copy off of somebody else. So you need to look good on paper in all different aspects. So they make sure that I want this child, even if your grades aren't the best, even if your test scores aren't the best, but when you package it all together, you are one, they're like, nah, this child is coming to our school.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We have to think about, yeah. So she's yeah, we'll talk. So so we want to talk about today, we want to talk about health. We want to
Yes.
talk about health, and the health of our teachers is so important. I don't know. I'm going through so much right now with my health, and I'm going through something where my blood pressure is up, and then and it's up for no reason, right? So I just figured out today what my problem is. I had COVID in the summer, and so I've been taking Sudafed ever since, and I didn't know Sudafed causes high blood pressure. I didn't know that. How do I know that? Because after COVID was over, I took it to keep my sinuses clear, right? And so then I still had a cough, so I still had a postnasal drip. So I still kept taking Sudafed. And now I'm going through all kinds of, look, my face is all, so it's still got this congestion all up in here. It never went away yet.
Right.
So now I'm taking antibiotics, so my face is like, I'm trying to figure out how to turn my face off. But yeah, but we have to be on top of that. Like, why is I went to the doctor, blood pressure's up. Why is it? We keep an eye on it. Check it again, keep an eye on it. It's going up, and then it's going a little bit down, but never like, it's usually 120 over 79 or something like that. It's never higher than that. And then, man, it's just the bottom number's going up, every number's going up.
And that's scary. You know, when you look at blood pressure, they used to say that 120 over 80 was a good blood pressure. Now they're saying that if your pressure is that, then you're borderline for being at risk for having high blood pressure. But one thing you said that maybe that people don't always do, myself included, we don't read the fine print on those boxes.
No.
You know, so it could have been that it may cause a side effect that you're not even realizing. And then the other thing too is, you know, sometimes when we go to our doctor's office, they may not always ask the right questions. So you as a consumer, as a patient, as a client, you kind of have to write things down of what you do. So when you go to a doctor, you say, well, I've been doing X, Y, and Z. Do you think that might be it? Because they may not think to ask you those questions.
Yeah, or they ask you the question and they think, I say I took Sudafed for my congestion, and they're like, okay, I just took it 1 time, 2 times. No, I've been taking this stuff. So like, this is like, we didn't discuss that. We're discussing why is your blood pressure so high? And my doctor called me back yesterday actually to say we need a follow-up appointment, because yeah, it's so much. But reading that fine print, and I always said before that if something has a side effect, just assume that it's you, that it's going to happen to you. And I learned that. But I never looked at Sudafed. I'm like, Sudafed, I don't take Tylenol because I know it messes with your liver. Ibuprofen messes with my stomach. And I'm like, Sudafed is cool. It's just Sudafed, whatever it is, it's just that. I don't know, that's bad.
No, and that's the thing. And that's a good thing to think about. If those side effects are going to happen, more than likely you may have them.
And even if you're not, just think like, this could happen to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So health is such a broad. We want to talk about food, what we're ingesting, but that medication, we're ingesting that.
It is.
Yeah.
It all has an effect.
I know.
Effect.
I want to give just a couple scriptures before we get all the way in before I go. I have some questions for you. But like, talking about healthy diets, it's because like Romans 12:1 says, present your bodies a living sacrifice. Where is it? Present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of our minds. And that was my favorite scripture forever. And I didn't take it. I took it like about being pure, right? I took it like about keeping your, like being pure sexually, or what am I listening to? What am I talking about? And I never take it as food. What am I doing? I always had good weight. Now, you get older, that weight doesn't stay the same.
That
So,
weight.
yeah, so I took it like that. Then I'm gonna give you one more. Then I'm not gonna keep cutting you off. And then the Bible talks about in 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17, where it's talking about you're the temple of God. Don't you know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God, and you are not your own? So, we're talking about how we're going to take care of this body that doesn't even belong to us.
Right.
This is something that God gave us temporarily because we know we're mind, body, and spirit. So your spirit is in this body, doesn't belong to you, and you're treating it any kind of way. So we could talk on that. But so I had those, and talking about, I know you want to talk about eating right and how are we supposed to eat, and so I have concerns about eating right, exercise, what to eat. We have all kind of food choices that don't make sense to us. Like, what would you suggest for teachers? Because stress can cause us to eat, then stress has caused changes to our bodies, and that means we have to eat a certain way to counteract all that stress. So what would you say to somebody that's listening?
So what, and teachers are in a very unique position because you're expected for the most part of the day, besides your 40-minute prep and your 40-minute lunch, to be up in front of students all day long. When I talk to teachers about eating or drinking water, for instance, like, well, I can't drink that much water because if you're especially in a class where you're by yourself, if you're an inclusion teacher, you have a co-teacher. But if you're by yourself, you don't have anybody to ask to watch your class for you to go to the bathroom.
No, you don't.
So, but that's one thing we should do is they say that in order to be healthy as far as your kidneys, you should be drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water a day. So you figure that out. If you're 150 pounds, and that's 75 ounces of water a day. Sounds good. But if you're a teacher and you're drinking that much during the day, that's going to have you run to the bathroom. So you have to figure out how to start drinking at a point where, okay, I may have to do that in the evening when I'm on my way home from work to do that. So that's the water piece. Now, as far as eating, the best way is to try to eat foods as close to nature as possible. Fresh fruits, vegetables, meats. We're living in this microwave time where we can get our meals cooked in like 2 minutes, or you're gonna go to a fast food place or a restaurant and grab your foods, but do you know how they're cooking them?
No.
Like some places you go and eat, they didn't just cook that meal. It came out too fast. Somebody's microwaving something. So we want to try to eat as close to nature as possible. Stay away when you're food shopping. You want to do the outer perimeter of the market. Because when you start going into those aisles, and even in the freezer aisles, for something to not have an expiration date that's a year away, what do you think they're putting into it? And that's where the salt is coming in. So if you've got high blood pressure, you need to stay away from anything that's packaged, whether it's in the freezer aisle or in the other aisles, because there's way too much salt in there for you.
I know.
And then for our kids too, and then when you look at the things that the kids are eating, some of these cereals are just awful. Stay away from stuff that's got, you have to start to be a label reader, just like we said before. You have to look at the labels to see what the ingredients are. If fructose is in there as the first, you don't want it. If sugar is the top ingredient, you don't want it. If you can't pronounce what they say, you don't want it.
So what? What I did? I went to a nutritionist, right? I went to a few, but the last one I had, she was one of the best. Is she the one? I don't know if she's from the hospital, or if she was the one from, I had one from ShopRite, because you could go on ShopRite and they'll call you. So one, I'm not sure which one it was. And so she was talking about, I was like, I'd eat that. And she was like, the processed food, right? That is what is causing high cholesterol, because I was worried about that. So then she said oatmeal. I said, hey, oatmeal, that's good. She said, not that one with the sugar in it. I said, but this is a little packet. And she said, get the box, because I was like, in my freezer, you're not gonna find anything. You might find some meat. I don't have all that stuff. I stopped buying all that extra junk. People come to my house, there's like, you have water. That's what I have. And I don't have juice, tea, nothing to offer you. So I looked on the box. She was like, if it's, I forgot what the percent of sugar, added sugar. She said, look at the added sugar.
Yes.
It was like a quarter of what you're supposed to have for the whole day of carbs. And I'm like, this little packet, this is a trick. It's a trick.
Right. Right.
You thinking I'm eating oatmeal.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and like we said, you got to stay away from the packaged items. We're not. So she probably told you steel cut oatmeal.
Yeah,
She said even healthier. Yes.
Yeah, she said oatmeal. I'm like, I got oatmeal. You don't have to tell me twice. That's my thing. No.
Not the packets. And I'm guilty of that too. I can't say that I was always such a healthy person or being healthy, but my kids, I knew from the time they were little, we stayed away from the sugar and things like that, or sodas. We didn't have it. So when we go to a family gathering, like, mommy, there's only soda. There wasn't even water as an option.
Yeah, I never.
Right.
Ooh, yeah.
So so with them, it was a learned behavior because I took those things. And granted, every now and then you're gonna have it, but it could not be a daily thing. So you have those. And then with the juices, we used to drink those Tropicana punches and things like that. But when you look at it, it'll say 100% vitamin C, but when you read the label, it's saying it's only like 25% juice. So what's the use of it? High fructose corn syrup, stuff that you don't want to have. I just recently watched a webinar where they were talking about how children who are exposed to sugar, even at 6 months, how they have a greater tendency to be overweight and obese as opposed to children who are not. So what we're feeding the kids, even as infants, makes a difference. So there's an impact on us as adults as well. So that's why I'm a school nurse, because when I was working, I worked for 17 years as a floor nurse, 13 years on cardiac units. And patients would say to me, oh, they come in to have the angioplasty, and in their patient teaching, they're saying, I don't understand why I had a heart attack. I eat healthy, but I said, but when you were younger, though, you probably didn't. So there's that component from when you were a kid. And then we have our genetics that we can't run away from. So you have to make, like, I know in my family, I'm pretty sure that high cholesterol runs on my mom's side of the family, because mine is kind of borderline high too. Not realizing that genetically our bodies create cholesterol. So if you're already creating and then you're eating the wrong stuff, you're putting yourself in a bad situation.
That's what I learned from my nutritionist. I didn't know my body creates cholesterol. I'm like, okay, where am I getting all this cholesterol from? But then she talked about the processed food, and so I'm sorry, my granddaughter is texting me, and I had to answer it. So, but she taught me a lot. It's so funny how you can. I went to nutritionist every time, like I needed to lose weight. Then I needed to work on my not my blood pressure, just trying to get my sugar level down, make sure it wasn't getting too high. And then I did exercising and all that, because I always walked. But then different nutritionists will come telling me different things, and they each helped me some kind of way. But then the last one, she came up with all this stuff I never heard. She was like, well, the recent studies say, and then it all made sense. Like, okay, then
that's her job. She's supposed to read all that research to help you.
Yes. Oh yeah. But it's like nobody else was telling me the stuff she said, and it's what you just said.
Right. So, but that's the thing that they're finding now in medical school, is that doctors are taught to treat, but they don't have that teaching piece with the nutrition part of it. So they'll say, oh, you having a pain, we're going to give you a pill for it.
Yeah.
So that's why there was controversy between MDs, who are medical doctors, and DOs, who are doctors of osteopathy. They take some extra courses in order to, okay, you come in when you have pain, they're going to ask you about your lifestyle first before they just offer a pill to you.
Yeah.
So they're trying to change the medical school so that doctors are more in tune with teaching and understanding the patients and the clients, and then even us as African Americans. And that's a whole other ball of wax I won't even go into tonight, because we won't have time to talk about it.
I was talking to somebody about certain type of medicine. I'll come back. Give me like 10 minutes, 15. All right, I'm sorry. That never happens. Okay. I usually tell people at 6 o'clock I have a show, and I didn't do that. So everybody's needing me right now. But I was talking to somebody, my father, about some medication that he was taking, and he was saying how his doctor was telling him it reacts differently in an African American than it would another race of person, like his high blood pressure medicine. And I said, okay, that's something to look into, because if a doctor doesn't understand that, and then I have a doctor who she understands different things like white blood cells, it might be lower in an African American woman. Like if just say you go to the doctor, they're concerned about your white blood cell count, then they say it might be different. So all that we have to know about ourselves, and then just in general about this food that we eat, and all this processed food. I can't understand it. How I understand how we got there, but why are we eating that stuff? Like,
because we don't understand, because our lifestyle is, we're so busy and we don't have time. But if you take the time and do what's called meal prepping, it saves you money and it's healthier for you too. My older son has been meal prepping for years. You know, he does not shop. He and his wife now, Sundays they go grocery shopping. They've got their little containers and they pack their lunch, their breakfast. I don't think they do snacks, but I know people who do snacks as well.
yeah,
So that when you get hungry at work, you're not going to the vending machine to get a Twinkie. Well, they don't really sell Twinkies as much, but you've got your nuts and your fruits and things like that.
Yeah.
So, but it's easier to buy the processed foods, but it's just not good for us, and we don't understand it. And we think it's going to be faster, but it costs more sometimes, some of those things.
Yeah.
You know, or the other thing too is if you don't have time to cook, then you're not going to buy stuff because it's going to go bad. So you're like, well, I'll just buy, you know, the processed stuff because I know it's going to last longer.
Oh yeah. Well, I use Blue Apron.
Yes, I like that.
I use that. I used to use Hello Fresh, but their stuff wasn't even fresh. They needed to change their name. So I use Blue Apron, and it helped me to love to cook, like really chopping and getting those whole foods. And then it trains me a little bit. But I know we talked about the teachers with our stress levels, because our stress, I know everybody has to work at their job. They're going 9 to 5 or whatever. You have to work, but it's not like teachers are like performing the whole day, constantly, the whole day. That's
stress.
That's stressful.
And then you gotta go home and work.
Say that again.
And then you have to go home and work because you have to do your lesson plans in the evening. You can't do that during the daytime.
Yeah, well, we have to train ourselves that we use our prep for that. And I'm not saying I do, because I don't. I do it on Sunday, but I got it so I know how long it's going to take. But I could use that time for something else, but I don't. So we have to learn how to do that too. Fix it so we use the time that we have. Because I told Shanae, she's my old co-host. I said, you know, one day I was at work and I was like, I had to actually use my prep for prep. I actually had to prepare for my class and my prep, but that's my relaxing time. But you know, you go to the bathroom, you relax, you might catch up with somebody. But I learned now, use that time unless you really need to relax, take a break, but use it, because when you come home, there's something else you have to do.
Right. Or if you're a younger teacher, you've got your kids. You got to take your kids to their games, their activities. So evening time, that should be your time to chill with your family.
So, all right, we talked about the food. How do you think the food we eat is affecting us, like mentally, physically, as it comes to work? Like, you know how people say if you're not eating right, you're sluggish and all that. So do you think there's a correlation between how we react and acting at work because of what we eat?
All the sugar that's in the food makes you hyper. You know how middle of the day, you know, you feel like, oh, I need like a candy bar, but all it does is just make you crash later on. Or if you're constantly drinking sodas and things that have those FD&C red number 40 and C number 30 or whatever,
Oh yeah.
those chemicals will affect you as well.
Yeah.
Or if you drink caffeine. I had a coworker many years ago who came into my office one day just saying, I don't feel well. Her heart rate was in like the 130s, 140s. And we realized that, I'm like, well, what did you eat? What did you drink today? She's like, well, I had a tea. She couldn't drink caffeinated tea.
Oh yeah.
Caffeine for some people is not good. So
Yeah.
stay away from the processed stuff, the chemicals, the food coloring. If it's not close to nature, you don't want it. Or like soda, the ones that are drinking soda a lot. That's
Yeah.
like diet sodas are even worse. The fake sugar, it's even worse than
Is it?
the real stuff.
I don't know, because I know people say that, and then I'm like, well, I don't know. But okay, so what do you suggest? I go to work. I need to have a snack. I know I'm gonna 10:30. I'm gonna need a snack. 11 o'clock. I'm gonna need a snack. What do I pack?
So you're gonna pack some fruit the night before. You peel an orange. You cut up some apples. You slice up some bananas, and then of course you gotta think about your kids in your class. If you got kids with nut allergies, then you can't have some peanut butter with that, because some kids they're affected aerosolly by it. Or pack yourself some sandwiches in a way that it's bite size. You can't have something that you're gonna need to cut with a knife and fork. Make it so that you could grab it with one hand and keep teaching the other way, because our kids are looking at us. So if they see you grabbing an apple, they're gonna go home and say, Mommy, you know what? Miss Branham, she's always eating apples in class. I want to have apples. We're modeling them. I always say teachers became teachers because they want kids to learn about reading, writing, and arithmetic. I became a nurse to help them learn about the educational stuff. The kids don't see me all day, but they see you.
Yes.
They see you grabbing some strawberries, some blueberries. Try those fruit. Like those are ones I would say I never ate blueberries, blackberries, strawberries as a kid. Never. But now I do. Have a smoothie or something. Things that are affordable.
Yeah, I bring my little fruit cups. And then sometimes I have apples. Like I had apples yesterday. We had early dismissal, so they don't actually serve lunch on early dismissal days. They give them a grab and go lunch at the end of the day. So I tell the students to bring in food, bring in snacks. And so one kid brought in chips, and I already explained we're not bringing potato chips because the cholesterol. I explained it to the parents, and they had these other things they can bring. And so one little boy, he brings tomatoes. His mom, I don't know where she gets this stuff to make it look good, like these little sticks and things with heads on it, or she'll put eyes like raisins or something on something to make it all look cute. And he's loving all of that stuff. He had tomatoes, and so I had some apples. I cut it. I cut it. It was for me, because so they think 5 apples is for them now, because I bought in. ShopRite had apples for $1, or $1.99, a bag of apples. So I used my slicer, I sliced it and put it in the bags and gave it to them. So now I had to give my apples away because they wanted the apples, but they wanted. They weren't looking for anything else. So they know they were coming in with healthy snacks because I pointed it out. So yeah, you're right.
Teachers can be so influential on the kids as to what they eat. Absolutely.
Right. Because they do, they tell, they go back home and tell their parents, well, my teacher said this, and my teacher said that, and then they come back and you see the snacks. They have little, today too, little oranges, little mandarin oranges, bananas, and then if somebody has something else, they're looking like, because they're used to getting those, processed food.
Right.
But they'll eat it in the end, but I'm glad they are changing. It is right. We make a big difference.
We do. I have to say my favorite teacher in school was my 4th grade teacher, Ms. Blanche Chaikin at PS 111 in Long Island City, New York. And she on Fridays was always free time in the afternoon. She would read to us and then bring different foods for us to try. So I had figs and dates, stuff that I wasn't eating in my house. But she brought different stuff to me. And so I always remember that, and like I said, 4th grade is my favorite year because that teacher helped expose me to different things.
Right. That so too, using my blue apron helped me to eat healthier too.
Yes.
And I can see the difference in what I'm doing and how I feel. I'm not sluggish, and then it's helping. So and I hadn't had it. I started again last week, so I hadn't had it like for a few months, not a few months. September. This is October only, so like the end of August, September, I didn't have it. Coming back to work, it's been all the summer money. So,
Yes, yes.
But so I just started last week at getting it back. But it helps me. And when you said that, that's what got into my head, where I'm eating things that I never ate before, like these fruit and vegetables, like what is the things I love? Capers. I never heard of capers in my life until this year. I never heard of it. I never heard what a caper is.
We found out about them last year. They're delicious.
Oh my goodness, put it on your chicken and your all that. That is some good stuff. So it once you eat, I think you'll see if we have blood pressure issues, I do know you'll see it going down. Then we need exercise. So do you talk about like what kind of exercise is good for a teacher? We always have something to do.
Well, walking, I would say when you're taking the kids from your classroom to another place, once you drop them off, take the long way back to your classroom.
Oh yeah.
Always take the stairs instead of the elevator. On your prep, take a walk around the building or outside if the weather's nice.
Yeah.
Way to get some steps in, and when you're going up the stairs, maybe skipping steps, that helps you do like lunge type activity.
Oh, yeah.
So different things like that to get some movement in. Now, if you can go to the gym, then I would say, either get up early or go after work. I've been noticing some of the teachers with mindfulness, they've been playing yoga videos in the classes with the kids. So do it with the kids. Sometimes the kids need a break. When they start asking to use the bathroom and go to a nurse, that's because their brains are getting a little tired. So take a movement break. There are plenty of videos. Pull something up and do like a 5-minute, jump in or whatever with your students. That'll get some exercise going, because everyone can't do everything because of whatever health limitations you have.
Yeah.
But walk. So you can
walk, and mostly everybody can walk unless you have real issues. But yeah, that's what I do. I walk. Then I got out of walk. I for years, that's all I did was walk. So then I did get out of that. I don't know how I did that. That's just in the past few months. I don't know what happened. Maybe working on this, I come onto the computer now, and instead of going for a walk, but I can see the difference from that. So I appreciate all this. I know we can go in 10 different directions talking about health and what we eat.
I could. Oh, and I wanted to say one thing about Blue Apron and those HelloFresh things as well, is they help you with portion control.
Yeah.
Because they will if they're sending entrees for 2 people, you only get enough for 2 people. My youngest son uses HelloFresh now because he just started a new job. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for benefits. So he gets a HelloFresh subscription. So he'll cook dinner, and the other entree is his lunch for the next day. So he's not spending money on food. So
that's my breakfast.
Effective.
Yes, it is. That's my breakfast. Unless I offer it to somebody. My grandson was here, he would get it. Then he said, "You trying to be funny. You don't even cook anything I like." Well, too bad, because that'd be my breakfast. But then I have the vegetable in the morning time.
Right.
I love it. That works for me. And then when you go to the store, it's so expensive too. So you might as well just get your meal. You have everything you need. And it's fresh. Whole food. So
you're getting that workout too, because the thing we lost years ago, like mashed potatoes, for instance, now you got an instant box. But if you got mashed potatoes, that's giving you a little workout. If you cut stuff, you help you working out those muscles and stuff. So when you think about it, cooking food is exercise in itself, because you're not just sitting there pushing a button waiting for it to cook.
I didn't think of that.
You're doing
I didn't think of that. Yeah. I like that. Now I know, but I love the chopping. It does something, relaxes me all in here.
It gets that stress out. It's a stress reliever.
It is.
Getting out those frustrations.
Yeah, carrots and peppers and onions. I never did any of that. I didn't. I used to use I know we don't have, but that how much? I don't know. We have a couple.
4 minutes, 4.5
Oh,
minutes.
okay. Okay. So I used to use Prego. You probably got a lot of sugar and salt in it. Or Regu. You know how I make my spaghetti sauce? Is which I hardly eat spaghetti sauce, but if I do, it's chopped tomatoes. Chopped tomatoes, and then you maybe put something in it. But that is so good. So good. Then of course you have your meat with it. But it's I'm like, I could have been doing this all the time.
Exactly.
All the time. I'm sitting here, you know, Prego used to be the big jar. Now it's so tiny for the more money. So
Of course.
all that, but I thank you for this. I thank you for coming on and offering suggestions. Next time we're going to hone it into one little subject, because you can talk to 10 points on just healthy eating.
Yes.
Because you can show us some recipes. This is what you eat with that, because you know that combination stuff.
Of course.
Oh my goodness. I can't even. And then I this is one tip I heard about just making your plate colorful. You're going to get all the vitamins and nutrients that you
need. Exactly. Yes, definitely. It makes it and making it look pretty, because even as adults, if it don't look nice, we're not going to eat it.
Everything bland.
Right. They want to see something pretty. So yes, colorful definitely works.
Right. And that portion control. I found out I can't eat that much. I thought I was good. And I'm like, what? I can't even eat. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, like, okay. But again, thank you for coming on. And is there a way we can get in contact with at least for the College Cafe if somebody's interested in that?
You can find me on Facebook. The Facebook page is College Cafe, and on Instagram it's College Cafe _ and send me a message through either one of them, and I'll add you to our email distribution list. You can get all the scholarship and webinar information that's available, because the motto at College Cafe is no more, pay less. The more you know about the process, the less you will pay.
I like that. And how about if we want to, I don't know what that says.
You got 2 minutes.
Oh, and how about if we want to ask you a health tip or something like that? The teachers, at least the teachers. Can we contact you there too? Or
yeah, that's fine too. Contact me at either one of those, and I will email you back or message you back.
Okay, because we don't always understand those labels. I didn't understand that added sugar part. I didn't understand that. I never paid any attention.
We usually don't, because we're not reading those labels, but you have to for your health. And I'm going to say that this part real quick. This generation of children is the first one that's not going to live longer than its parents because of the health issues. We're more overweight, they're more obese, they have more chronic conditions. So if we don't nip this in the bud now, we're not going to have a future. So we as adults have to start reading the labels and train our children to read the labels as well, and ask questions. You know, ask, if you go out to eat, ask them, well, what is in it? What does this mean? Because we got to protect that temple. What you're eating is going to have an effect on you.
Right. I know. I look at my grandkids. So thank you for that. And thank you for tuning in to Educators with Oil. Again, I'm Ronette Branham, and this is Dr. Ketsia Alerte Sadler. And thank you, and have a good day.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.